Hi there. I am going to be going through some myofascial, self-myofascial release techniques, specifically targeted for the upper body. So if you're really feeling like you're rounding quite a bit, or if you're feeling very tight in your chest or just kind of achy in the neck and shoulders, this abbreviated rolling video will be helpful for that. So I have a few tools that I'll be using today. One is the foam roller, and I'm choosing to use my squishy, very soft foam roller today just because oftentimes we're in this tension or tight pattern in the neck, shoulder area, back area. When we're talking about fascia, we want to approach it slowly, like moving slowly, maybe longer holds, and then using some tools that are going to be less invasive. And if you think about muscles versus fascia, right? And oftentimes it's really dependent on you personally and what your body prefers and what you prefer with this work. With fascia, being a bit, if you have the time, being a bit more conservative in pressure and pace, like rapid, not being super rapid and switching from one move or exercise to the other, can really have some profound positive effects on helping to kind of relieve from those adhesions or maybe tension in specific areas of the body. So that said, I'll be using a soft roller. If you don't have a soft roller, it's okay. You can definitely use your foam roller. This is a 36-inch roller. I will be using, and I'll show you some of the things you can do with a roller like this. If you don't have that, you can use a smaller roller. That's totally fine. I'm also going to be using some Franklin balls. I do recognize that not everyone has Franklin balls, so you can use tennis balls. I would say lacrosse balls would be a little bit too much for what we're going to use these for. If that's all you have, that's totally fine. But I like the Franklin balls. They're squishy, they have some give, and you'll see how they can benefit us here in a moment. And then I have one pinky ball, which is just basically an oversized bouncy ball. Not quite as firm as a lacrosse ball, but definitely more firm than these Franklin balls. I also have a yoga strap, which we will use to help open the chest today. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a towel or a dog leash or anything that kind of is similar to a yoga strap. And then lastly, this is something that not everyone will have, but I just wanted to show you. This is my acupressure mat. It's from Spunk. And I really, if you have the time after we roll, after we use all these tools, if you have the time to rest on this for like 15, 20 minutes on your back, please do. So with these little acupressure points, it's just going to help to not only bring blood flow to the fascia, to the muscle of that area, and even though it looks like a little medieval torture device, it actually will help you to relax. Once you get settled in, it does have some relaxing benefits and qualities to it. So if you can use that or do that if you have one of those, I recommend spending maybe some relaxation time on that. So we're going to just start by checking in with our head, neck, and shoulders for a moment. So go ahead and sit up nice and tall, and whether you're sitting with legs crossed or feet flat on the floor, it's up to you. But I just want you to do a couple chin nods and maybe lift the chin up. And this is just one that you can really start to tap into if you're noticing if you feel any tension or stickiness as you move through this. And then bringing the head to neutral, let's just turn to the right, and then turn to the left, and then opposite side. And then same thing here. Just tuning in to see if maybe one side has more rotation than the other. Noticing if this sensation radiates at all. And then finally, bring the head down through the center towards the chest. Let that right ear rock over to the right shoulder, and then up and over to the left. We'll do that a few times. All right, one more each side. And then coming back through neutral, reach for your strap, your towel, your dog leash, whatever you have. And we're just going to take a grip that's wider than our shoulders, knuckles facing forward, and we're going to work a little bit on protraction and retraction of the scapula. And I really just want you to be able to feel if you're having, issues tapping into this movement, or maybe you're able to move one movement more than the other. So just notice that. So I'm pulling slightly on the band. I'm not pulling it so that I'm like stressing out. I'm just slightly pulling. And we're going to work a little bit on retraction. So that just means we bring our shoulder blades back and we squeeze, right? We'll do that a couple times. So think reaching tall through the crown of the head, keeping the body nice and tall, and just feel the shoulder blades squeeze. You can certainly do this without a prop, right? You can definitely feel that. But I like the pull and how that gets me to kind of connect to my serratus. It helps me connect a little bit to the underarms a little bit there. And so with the retraction, just feel that squeeze. Now retract, squeeze, and hold. We're going to hold here for about 10 seconds. Grow taller through the upper body. And then keep that head in line with the spine. Maybe feel some warmth happening in the back of the arms. 3, 2, and then 1. We're going to work the opposite side of that. Now we're going to protract. So it just needs to be kind of roll the shoulder blades away from one another. We pull them away from one another. And when we do that, you might start to feel some stretch right in between the shoulder blades. You might feel like I'm feeling right now, it's a lot of warmth through my deltoids down into my arms. So why are these important? So if we lose the retraction and the protraction, we lose that mobility, things get really sticky and tight, and we overcompensate, say with our neck or with our traps. So keeping the shoulders mobile, I mean, they were built to be mobile. Like we really need to focus on keeping them mobile to keep the rest of our body nice and happy. So from here, let's go ahead and work both. We're going to retract and protract. Retract and protract. And just try to keep that the rest of the body nice and steady, nice and tall. And for those of you who have recently had a baby, even dads of babies, and we're holding a lot, right? Or we're sitting on the floor a lot more, we're looking down a lot more. I know of being 9 months postpartum, like my shoulders and neck are jacked, and it takes a while to get back into that, and also taking my own advice, right? So from here, let's reach the arms overhead. And so you're going to keep pulling on that strap, and you're going to bring them around. And so you might need to adjust your grip to feel that opening. And just watch so that when you pull the arms back behind you, you're not rolling the shoulders forward like this, okay? So keep that chest lifted. And then after a few of these rolls, we want to keep all of this stuff dynamic right now, right? We're just warming up. So not a lot of long holds, just nice fluid movement. And then finally, reach up overhead. I'm going to choke up on the strap a little bit. Pull, let the shoulder blades drop down and back, and just pull to one side. Now, whatever side you're opening, breathe into that rib cage. Take a big breath in, all the way down into your lowest ribs, and then as you exhale, come on up, really tall. Big breath in, up and over to the other side. Imagine breathing into the lowest part of your ribs, so way down here on this side. And then exhale, come on up. We're going to continue that. And focus now not only into the low ribs, but 360 degrees. So into the side, the back, the front of the body. And notice how by just bringing awareness and breath to that space, you might begin to feel a deepening of a stretch in your low back. All right, so now we're going to come back up through center. Pause and just rotate to the right. Get as tall as you can, squeeze out the breath. Inhale, center, and then same thing, other side. Rotate, squeeze. One more each side. Your arms should be very warm here because of the pull of the strap. Nice and tall, rotate, and squeeze. So for those of you, go ahead and let that strap go. For those of you who have taken a foam rolling class with me here at the studio, or have seen some of the online classes I've been offering, I like to use the Franklin balls quite a bit in the rolling practice. But like I said, if you're limited on what you have, If you don't have Franklin balls, you can actually use 2 hand towels or 2 washcloths that you would just kind of roll up, or even socks that you would roll up into kind of like either a roll or a ball. So if you like a sock that you've rolled up into one another, you can use that. We're going to start with the Franklin balls and placing them right where our tricep and our deltoid meet. So it does take a little kind of finessing once you get down here to properly have the head or properly have the props where they're supposed to be. So let me show you. I'm going to take one and place it here. And so notice when I try to place it to the other side, I might lose my other one. So I'm going to hold it with this other hand here. And I am on my reformer, so I have limited space where I could go, but we'll make it work. So once we're here, notice how the balls are not up in my shoulder blades. They're not even up near my neck. They are about maybe 2 inches down below the top of my shoulder. Now, if I were to be on the floor, I would have space to let my arms open out. I want to avoid that here because, as you can see, I start to hyperextend my elbows. So I'm actually going to take my hands to my belly. Not ideal, like I said, I probably should be doing this on the floor, but from here, go ahead and just rest for a moment. So with the palms up, like I said, ideally the palms are up. And you know what? I am just going to hold my arms out here because it feels better. You, depending on how severe you've been rounding in your shoulders, you may or may not feel this already. But the idea with this work with the Franklin balls is that you start to relax your body so much, and then you start to bring your awareness to where your body needs these tools and breathe into that space. So go ahead and close your eyes, and if you hear a baby screaming, it's my daughter, she's upstairs. She's very vocal, so she's not alone, so don't worry about that. All right, so from here, let's just go ahead and feel the body sink down wherever you're at. Feel the back get heavy. Your legs can be long, your feet can be flat on the mat, whatever feels best for your back, your body. And then feel the legs get heavy, feel your shoulder blades soften and release deeper down to the mat. Begin to allow your belly to come deep into your breath, or your breath deep into your belly. Feel the jaw soften and relax. No clenched jaws here. And now, once we've started to still any kind of fidgeting in the body, let's now bring that awareness to where the balls meet your arms. Let's start to focus on that right arm. So can you imagine sending the big, big breath right into your muscle where it's touching the ball? So inhale into that ball, into that arm. And then exhale, just let it go. Let's do that 2 more times. Same side, right side. Breathe into that right side arm. Exhale, let it go. One more on this side. As your body opens up around this tool under your arm, you might have the urge to kind of like roll around on it and get all in there. But for right now, resist that urge and just let your body receive that pressure from the ball. And then bring your awareness to that left side. Begin to breathe into that left arm, that space where the body and the ball meet. Big breath in. Easy breath out. So we look at lines of fascia in the body. We have some major lines and sling systems and all that stuff. But at its deepest level, fascia does not have this linear organization, right? It's almost like this spider web, cobwebby organization in the body. But with that said, there's areas in the body, keep breathing into that left side. There's areas in the body where the fascia is more dense and has a tendency to get even more constricted and dense. And the shoulders are a big one. The triceps, because of their underuse for most people, and the deltoid conjunction with the triceps, this tends to be a spot with some deep-rooted stickiness in it. So let's go ahead and hold both arms in awareness. The intensity that maybe you started with, for some, might have dissipated a bit, and for others, maybe it's increased as you've rested here for a moment. So just one more big breath. And then let's gently start to take the balls out from the shoulders. And then, like I said, once again, if you're on the floor, just let your arms once again open out and let them rest. Let the blood flow come back into the arms, back into the shoulders. Take a couple of big breaths. So once I took those balls out and I could feel my shoulders just kind of relax, I got the chills all down my legs. And so this is what I'm talking about with some of this like subtle work with myofascial release. It does not have to be painful all the time. It does not have to be intense all the time to be effective. So let's just take a couple more breaths here. You can even maybe start to snow angel the arms here. And so with that, we just let the arms glide out and around. All right, last snow angel if you went there. And then keeping a hold, like I said, if you don't have these balls, you can use some tennis balls. They might be a little intense. I'd kind of wrap those with a towel. Or you can use a thick towel roll for this. So what I'm going to do, or your roller actually, I'm going to take the balls and I'm going to place them just below the tips of my shoulder blades. And now the balls are actually touching one another, so it kind of looks like a peanut. And with this, I'm going to let my body go up and over the balls here and rest. And so you would see where maybe a roller would be a little bit overkill here, especially if you're really tight in the thoracic spine. So with the balls, it's just a happy medium. And if you have a half roller, I have a half roller over here, you could use a half roller as well. Those would kind of mimic this movement here. But once we settle, and whether arms are overhead for that extension or arms are on sides or on belly, that's completely up to you. It's a little too much for me to keep my arms overhead right now. That's how tight my back is. So with that said, let's go ahead and once again, we allow the body to soften. We allow the heaviness of our body to really emphasize itself or present itself on the mat. Now begin to really pay attention to whatever's in your back right here, whatever tool you have on your back. Feel that part of the rib cage, of the back muscles, just sink down. Not pushing it down, it's just dropping in to its own space. And then start to send the breath right to where the body meets the tool. Notice with each inhale and each exhale if there's an increase or decrease of sensation. Notice if the sensation radiates, meaning does it travel up or down the spine, or does it travel out to the sides of the body? Let's just take 2 more breaths here. All right, so from here, we're going to take the hands behind the head. We're going to cradle the back of our skull. So number one rule, do not pull on your neck. So we don't look like this. We're not flexing the neck to an extreme. We're not pulling the neck. All of this control and this movement is originating from our core and our ribs. The hands are just supporting the head. Big, big, important note here, because I can't tell you how many times I see people pulling themselves through this. So with that said, let the elbows kind of open out to the periphery of your vision here. And so we'll let the body rock back. So by doing that, I'm releasing some tension in my abdominal muscles. And then to come up, my front ribs slide into my front pockets. So my head is just heavy in the hands. There's no tension in my neck. I'm going to do that a couple times. So open over the ball and then push your back ribs into the ball as you sink those front ribs down. We'll do that 3 more times. And so this should feel like quite a bit of a deep abdominal engagement, not a crunch though. All right, because notice how I'm still keeping my head neutrally aligned with my spine. All right, so now last one, you're going to lift and hold. We're going to make semicircle over to the left, and then semicircle over to the right. So same thing, head heavy in those hands. And when I go over to the right, I feel my left side get a little longer, get a little stretch, and my right side engage, and then opposite, side to side. And then when you're ready, we're going to start to make these little circles, right? So we're going to go up, over to the right, down, straight back, and then to the left. So just circling up. This, once again, should feel like work, but also a nice little massage in that mid-back. And then reverse. Keep the head nice and relaxed, neck nice and relaxed in the hands. 3, 2, and then 1. Let your head go back, let it rest onto your neck. Arms can open out like a T, they can go overhead. Just breathe here for a moment. Now, you might have felt that mid-back kind of kick on through some of that work, and that's totally fine. But now let it go. If your arms are overhead, go ahead and bring them out like cactus arms. And then from here, we're going to bring palms and elbows together, squeeze, feel that kind of spread the muscles of the mid-back, and then let those backs of the hands and elbows come to the floor. So exhale, squeeze, big breath, inhale, open. Now having this mid-back elevated with the tools might make this chest opening a little bit more intense. So just listen to your body here. Open and close, and we'll do that one more time. Open and close. Awesome. So from here, tuck the chin. You can roll off one and then the other, or if you have a towel roll, just easily pull it up from underneath of you. Release everything back down, flat onto the back. So after, I'm just going to use my butt to keep these from rolling off. Don't worry about putting them there. After that opening of the back of the shoulder and the mid-back, just notice how that feels to lie flat down. You might feel like you have a bit more connection of the upper body onto the mat here. All right, just 1 or 2 more breaths here. Awesome. So let's go ahead and roll onto our left side. I'm just going to put these down for a moment. And then you're going to rest your head onto your arm. So I'm going to pull my knees into my chest quite a bit here. And so part of this tension that happens from our neck and shoulders, obviously from our mid-back being super tight, but a lot of it has to do with lack of rib cage mobility. And when we lose that mobility, think about it, like our ribs are made to move in order for us to breathe deeply. When we lose that rib cage mobility, our breath might be a bit more shallow, might be a bit more short. And so we really want to focus today on these lower ribs. So bring your right hand to your low ribs, just nice and soft. And I have this kind of like a C cup of my hand so that my thumb is on my back ribs as well. What I'm gonna do is keep everything really relaxed on my left side. And I'm gonna take a big breath into my right rib. So inhale, feel those right ribs rise. And then as you exhale through an open mouth, feel those ribs fall. And of course, both sides of the body are gonna move. So it's an inhale through the nose and a soft open mouth exhale. The open mouth exhale is important. When you breathe through out through a soft open jaw, you cannot hold tension in your ribs. The ribs have to naturally move. Now, if you were to breathe through your nose, not so much, right? The ribs can stay pretty still. So 2 more. Imagine you're overinflating this right side of the body. Head is still really relaxed on that left arm. And then last one. We're gonna add a little more movement to this. So from here, flip your palm up. And we're going to extend through that arm. We're gonna inhale, breathe into the right rib, but extend through that right arm. And then as you exhale, pull that elbow down towards the waist, okay? So we're going to inhale up and over, big stretch, breathe into that right rib. Exhale, exhale, soft open jaw, bring that elbow towards the waist. 3 more times. Make these slow and focused. So we feel that squeeze on the way out, shoulder out of the ear. And we feel that stretch on the breath in. 1 more time. While we're here, we'll come into our little twist. So notice how awkward this looks for my head to be like this. So if you have that towel or pillow or your half roller, go for it. We're gonna reach those right fingers beyond the left. So I mean, like I'm almost rolling onto my belly. My knees are in line with my hips. And then I'm gonna open out, let me make sure I don't roll off my reformer here. I'm gonna open out to this easy twist here. And so to come out, my right fingers just gently touch my right chest. I'm gonna slide my right hand down my chest, down my arm. Reach, this is where right here I feel a nice massage and pressure where we started with the deltoid and the tricep knee. And then as I roll out of it, I'm into this chest stretch and this mid-back rotation. So there's yumminess and goodness in the whole movement, right? So there's this kind of stretch in the back body, pressure in that left shoulder, and then rolling out, openness through the chest, twisting through the back. 1 more time. Reach. And open. All right, so now from here, reach through again, coming into pinwheel arms. So I'm going to trace this semicircle up and around. It's like a half circle, I guess. And then up and around, out the way I came in. So breathe into that right rib as we stretch open. Find that twist, and then exhale, come on out of it. 2 more. So this is these last 2 mobility things that we've just done, the periscope arms and now the pinwheel arms. These are something that I recommend that people do every day for this nice gentle mobility. If it's like you can do this when you wake up in the morning. But what happens over time, and we've kind of gotten things mixed up, is that we tend to be, as a culture here in the States, we tend to be really mobile and hyper flexible in our low back, and then really tight in our mid back. And we actually, to have a more functional, healthy movement pattern in our body, we want to switch that. We want more mobility in our mid back and more stability in our lumbopelvic area. All right, so let's go ahead and press on up. And we're going to switch sides. So same thing, other side. Rest that head into the arm. And then from here, little C cup with a hand. Thumb wraps around the ribs. Now take a big breath into that left side. Exhale through the soft open jaw. Now be mindful when you take these big breaths. Do you feel it up into your neck? Does that shoulder creep up into the ear? And if so, you might be overusing your accessory muscles like your scalenes. So really focus on this breath down here, three-dimensionally. We'll take 2 more breaths here and we'll add that dynamic movement. These deep breaths, like they just have a way of like letting you just drop in and be like, oh, okay, I'm relaxed now. All right. So same thing other side. We're going to inhale deeply. Feel the ribs rise up to the ceiling and then exhale, pull that elbow in. Feel the scapula glide down the back. Glue onto those back ribs. Inhale up and over, big long stretch. Exhale, pull down. Watch that when you do this, that you don't let that left shoulder head, this part right here, don't let it roll forward. We're not rounding forward, right? We're plugging that blade onto the back with movement, of course. All right, one more here. Reach and breathe out. Awesome. From here, extend that bottom right arm. You can rest your head on whatever feels comfortable. Just make sure that the shoulder isn't like all the way up in the ear. We're going to come into pinwheel or periscope arms. Reach beyond with those left fingers and then begin to rotate open. Now watch these knees. Make sure they don't drop too low. Keep them up high in that tuck. Glide those left fingers down the right arm. Roll like you're about to roll onto your belly. And then slowly unwind. Open. You can now tell me that does not feel amazing. Like it's just what the body needs. That and the pinwheel arms. And these 2 movements that I'm doing, these are things that I've seen in different trainings, right? So when I've done Pilates courses, like when I've done working towards my balanced body certification, and then when I've done other trainings, bar, pre-Pilates exercises, this is something that you can find being used in a lot of different modalities, even physical therapy. All right, so now pinwheel arms. Now I don't really have a movement because I have a tower here. So we're going to circle. Oh, wait, that's not too bad. Up and around. But you really want to find that like extension, that reach through the fingers. Nice and slow. Opening. All right, we'll do this one more time. Awesome. Go ahead. Press yourselves up to a seat. As I step on these balls here. All right, just take a moment here. And we're going to sit tall for a second. Bring your fingertips to your shoulders. You can do this sitting with legs crossed as well. But you're going to sit really tall. Elbows reach out, like they're reaching out far. Tall spine. Crown of the head reaches. And then exhale, rotate to the right. Feel that right shoulder blade engaged, left shoulder blade kind of stretches, and then center to the left. Center right, center left. All right, so now we're going to use our roller and just kind of generally roll the back, the mid-back. So go ahead and come back onto your back. And so I have a roller starting right underneath my shoulder blades. And especially if you have a super firm foam roller, do not roll lower than this. We do not want to piss off the floating ribs, especially if we have any kind of osteoporosis, osteopenia. If you have those two things, I highly recommend spending the money on a soft roller. So hands behind the head, elbows in your peripheral vision. You're going to bring your head back in line with the spine. So I'm not arched nor am I curled. I'm going to place my feet underneath with my knees, lift my hips, and then using my heels, I'm going to pull myself forward and push myself back. And so I'm just doing this, like I said, it's about 6-7 inches depending on your height. I'm just going to the tops of my shoulders and then rolling just below my shoulder blades. Everyone's different anatomically, so just move conservatively. Keep the spine nice and neutral, and then now let's open those elbows wide. Notice that when you do that, you can feel some massage on the tops of the shoulder blades. And then go ahead and bring those elbows close into the temples. And notice how that now gets you to massage right in between the shoulder blades. You can increase pressure by kind of leaning to one side, rotating the pelvis to one side or the other. You might need to adjust as I roll. I've kind of pushed my roller too far back. All right, 1 or 2 more rolls here. You might feel some cracks or some pops. As long as they don't hurt, you're good. All right, and now if it's available, let yourself kind of arc over. Now that we've warmed up this area, this might not be as uncomfortable as it would have before. So just take a breath. Feel the breath now come into like where this arc of the rib happens. Maybe even feel a bit of a stretch, so that deep opening. That sternal stretch, that chest, that diaphragm. Go ahead, curl on up. We're gonna take the roller down, come back onto our left side, getting into our lats. So bringing the roller right, bra line, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what a bra line is, I'm sure you know what a bra line is. So right in the nipple line here. So hand to the head. This is something we do almost every foam rolling session here at the studio, just because I wouldn't say it feels good. It doesn't feel good while you're doing it, but it feels really good after. So you're moving your whole upper body. So notice that I'm not just moving my arm like this. This is not what we're doing. We're going to be moving the rib cage in line with the arm and then opening. And this is where that soft roller feels so good, because I know with a really firm roller, this is intense and can be quite painful. But if you think about, maybe your movement practice, and I see this a lot with people who really just practice a lot of yoga, is that they've got like this incredible amount of strength for pushing because of all the chaturangas and planks and all that stuff. But when it comes to pulling, they have very little strength. And that comes obviously from the lats, right? So the lats might not be firing or working, and they might be really tight and sticky. So just notice how this feels here. So PSA, diversify your movement. Make sure you're pulling, adding pulling exercises to your repertoire. Very important. All right, one more. Especially are not comfortable with that, you can move the roller, but like I said, that's where the soft roller actually doesn't hurt. Now, this next time we rotate upward towards the ceiling, let's pause for a moment here. Now, as we're doing this, see if you can mindfully, we're kind of tracking that right hip, that top hip, away from the chest and shoulder. And then come all the way up. We're not going to check in just yet. Normally we check in after each side, but we're going to check in after we finish this other side. And you'll see why here in a minute. So same thing, set it up. Roller in line with the nipple line here. Hand, left hand up to the sky. Let the body just get nice and acquainted with that roller. If it's super uncomfortable, I want you to just sit with that discomfort here for a moment before you roll, before you move around. So this side is much more uncomfortable than the other. Makes sense. This is like my bad jacked side. So left arm to the sky, and then when you're ready, it doesn't matter which direction you start your circle in, because we will switch here in a moment. You bring those knees in a little more. So if you think about things or movements or seated position or sitting position that really piss off your back, and especially this mid-back, neck and shoulder area, and all of this release work that we're doing today is wonderful, but it's just a little part of it, right? It's a big part, but it's in the grand scheme of things, we have to rethink how we hold our posture, how we sit, how we stand, in order for this to really integrate into the body. Because foam rolling and massage and all of that stuff is wonderful, but it's not going to fix you if you don't piece it together with other things like, say, movement, healthy movement practices, balance movement practices, and chiropractic work as well, if you're a fan. I was afraid to death of chiropractic work until I tried it, and it's amazing. So reverse the circles if you haven't already. All right, and then one more. So now keep that head in line with the spine, both hands behind the head now. And all we're going to do is rotate down and rotate up. So if you have to move the roller for the girls, I recommend moving the roller down slightly. Just make sure it's not on those floating ribs. Notice that I'm not voguing the elbows either. So when I rotate, I'm not pulling that elbow close to my head. The elbows stay pretty stationary. I'm just moving from my ribcage. All right, one more. Awesome. So go ahead and come all the way up to the seat. This is where you're going to take your either towel rolls, or balls, strengthening balls. And you're going to place one in one armpit and one in the other. It's going to look funny. But let the arms slightly hang out from the body. Get as tall as you can, and then bring your left ear to your left shoulder. So you can certainly do this stretch without the balls. You would just kind of maybe opposite heel of the palm would reach down to the floor. But I like the balls because they create this kind of space and hole of traction in the shoulder joint. Come through center and then up and over to the other side. Whew. You can move here. Don't feel like you have to stay static. One side is definitely a bit tighter than the other. Switching one more time on each side. And then coming back through center, let the shoulders drop. And then just release the balls out from underneath of us. Final bit of work is just a little bit of an occipital release. So part of our issue with our posture, with technology and everything, is that we tend to, once again, look down, rounding and looking down, phones, whatever. But then also when we get tight like that, the chest gets tight, we can actually kind of jut our chin forward and let the head kind of drop back. And this is obviously exaggerated, but you might see a lot of people, sitting like this, right? Head back, chin lifted, round the shoulders. I know I catch myself doing it. So what happens is that these muscles back here get really tight. We're gonna just let that go. So you're gonna take the roller to the back of the skull. Now I am not here, right? So if you notice the difference, my chin is super tucked, my head's being pushed forward. This is not where I want to be. I want the roller to kind of rest across the top of my shoulders and nestle between my skull and my shoulder blades. Hands are going to cover the caps of the rollers, and then very, very carefully just start to allow the body to sink in. If you've had any kind of neck surgery, spinal fusion surgery of this vertebra, I do not recommend doing this with a roller behind you. You can do this just head flat. And then let's let the head drop over to the right and over to the left. We're going to continue that. Very little effort behind the head nod or the head shake. It's like just slowly, effortlessly rocking side to side. Imagine the head is heavier with each nod or each shake. And if you feel like you need to hold a spot or really slow the movement down, please do so. All right, one more each side. I like ending with the neck because I feel like we have a tendency to overuse it when we're rolling around and we're moving. So I really like to end here on the neck. Release the roller or whatever prop you have underneath of you. Let it go. Slightly tuck the shoulder blades underneath of you. Let the palms flip up. Your feet can stay flat on the mat, or you can extend the legs long, but we're going to be here for just a few breaths, just to let everything integrate. So go ahead and just take a breath in, and then exhale everything out of the lungs. Open mouth, exhale, press all of the breath out. Hold that out breath, hold it. And then inhale for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're going to pause at the top for 2, 1. Exhale slowly for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause at the bottom for 1, 2. Inhale all the way for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause at the top, maybe sip in a little bit more breath here. And then exhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Pause with that breath out for 3, 2, and 1. And then slowly let your breath return to normal. Stay relaxed, stay nice and still for a moment here. And without letting your mind take you to the external, can you start to tap into maybe the sensation of increased blood flow to certain areas of your body, or the sensation of freedom of space and breath into the body? And just hold those in awareness. Notice what it feels like to have that increase of blood flow and sensation. Build that connection, that brain-body connection. Let's take 3 more breaths here. When you're ready, you can roll to one side. Now, like I said, if you would want to spend some extra time relaxing, just stay right where you are. If you have an acupressure mat, go ahead and just lie down on that. If you have any questions, let me know. But hopefully this quick little opening and breathing and stretching routine is something that will help you to release any of that tension that you may have accumulated from your work week. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you soon.